Alright, it's time for another video. Let's spin this wheel of random ideas I came up with. Ew, hold on. There we go. A remake or sequel idea to a thing from your childhood. If you're watching this video, you already know what future me ended up choosing. So let's play the intro and get into it.
Just not a super one.
Yeah? What's the difference?
Presentation!
MegaMind is a film from 2010. A little later in the timeline of my childhood, but a good choice nonetheless. So let's fan fiction this thing up and do Hollywood's job and come up with a sequel. The original film is about a villain who doesn't want to be a villain anymore after falling in love with the reporter he always used to kidnap. I want to kind of stick to the themes of the original film, one of the main things being that it focused on the difference between being the chaddest of chads like Metro Man, a man who was beloved straight out of the womb, and lived life on easy mode since day one, while MegaMind, on the other hand, was raised by a bunch of prisoners, and as a child did not receive any attention or affection, which resulted in him turning to a life of villainy to feel acknowledged. I feel those themes are the perfect starting point for a sequel. The intro to this film will be a similar montage to the original, but this time, the two kids are MacLeod and Metro Boy, the children of MegaMind and Metro Man respectively. The first scenes will go quickly through their life, from birth to starting school, and then jump to high school, where the actual rest of the film will take place. At first, MegaMind is worried about his son's first day of school, seeing as that's where a lot of his own resentment and pain comes from. But Roxanne reassures him that unlike his childhood, he'll be there to help his son. And after MegaMind's son has a pretty bad first day, MegaMind gives his son some advice, and this advice actually works, and it helps MacLeod make a few friends. And as he continues to grow older, he starts being referred to as just Max, and he has a pretty good group of friends. Meanwhile, Metro Boy is living his best life on his first day, but as time goes on, it starts to become very clear that the whole smile and lift something heavy might be impressive to kindergartners, but it ain't gonna work with preteens and teenagers. Without a villain, Metro Boy just doesn't have the same star power as his father did. And now they're starting high school. Metro Boy continues to struggle to stand out, but he's not doing terrible overall. He has friends, and he's friends with Max and some other people. But thanks to his early childhood memories of being overly adored and his father's own experience of it being that easy, he's feeling a little conflicted that he's being treated like he's just a normal average guy instead of being praised like his father was. And unfortunately, Metro Man didn't have this problem and has never had to struggle for attention, so his advice to his son is usually just terrible and pretty shallow. While Max, on the other hand, has no issues at all and is mostly just focused on finishing his big science project. This causes MegaMind to deal with the painful fact that his son doesn't really need his help anymore. And deep down, he's also a little bit jealous and resentful that the world treated him so differently when he was young. So he decides to go undercover as a substitute teacher. He's kind of in denial right now. Like there's no way that his son is able to survive high school on his own. He must be secretly getting bullied and he's just not telling him. So, while he's pretending to be a teacher, that's when we start to take notice of another kid in the classroom. A kid that seems to be struggling socially and is constantly being harassed or interrupted by the shenanigans that are happening around the school. And without even really trying, MegaMind ends up helping and encouraging this kid, whether it's because he sees a bully and just stops him without even knowing who was being bullied, or just admiring the ingenuity that he did on a science project he turned in. This kid is actually secretly the bad guy of this film, but he's not really a bad guy, and you don't even really know he's supposed to be that yet. So let's continue on. Metro Boy is starting to struggle even more than he was before. Strange coincidences start ruining his relationships with his friend group, and he can't seem to even focus on his grades. He tried going to Metro Man for advice, and none of it has ever worked. So now we have the reverse parallels to the first film. MegaMind wishes his son needed him, but secretly he's jealous that it's so easy for him. And Metro Man acts like everything will just work out, but secretly he doesn't know what to do and is afraid to admit it. During an argument with Metro Boy, an accidental explosion from Max's science project knocks Max out and causes people to believe that Metro Boy caused it, and they start to hate him even more. He's not handling this hatred well, and he starts to embrace the idea of becoming a villain. But before he can actually do anything too evil, he ends up having to fight his own father. After defeating Metro Man, who he only beat because Metro Man wasn't even really fighting back, it's revealed that the kid from school has been secretly ruining Metro Boy's life, forcing his friendships to get worse and worse behind the scenes. It's revealed that he was behind a lot of the strange things that were happening to Metro Boy earlier. And a flashback shows that Metro Boy had caused a lot of annoyance in this kid's life without even knowing that he did it. Constantly accidentally blowing up his stuff or flying past him while he's carrying something important and causing him to drop it. And this is when Max wakes up and explains to Roxanne, who's by his side in the hospital, that Metro Boy didn't cause the explosion. Something went wrong with his project. So Max has MegaMind rush him to Metro Boy, and they find him lifting the kid up by the throat. Obviously, this looks super evil, and he has to explain himself. Max, of course, realizes that this random kid must have tampered with his project and caused the explosion, but he doesn't know why because he doesn't know him. Max suggests that killing someone's best friend just because they annoyed you is a pretty hardcore thing to do. The kid explains that he just wanted to make Max fail the project. He didn't know that Max was making something that could become a deadly bomb just for an A in his science class. The kid initially still wants to take down Metro Boy, and now he includes Max in that list for not even knowing who he was. He's tired of being unseen, unheard, and left to just accept whatever happens to him because he's not popular like Max or some super-powered freak like Metro Boy. And that's when MegaMind reveals that he did notice him, and he does think he's a good person with a great mind. And the kid is confused how MegaMind even knows who he is. That's until MegaMind transforms into the teacher disguise, and the kid decides to let his hatred go once he realizes that there was someone who was right there with him. So basically, there's no real bad guy in this movie, except the unrelenting force that we call participating in the public education system. Metro Man apologizes for giving knowingly bad advice to his son, instead of just admitting he didn't know how to help. And MegaMind admits to his son that he's been feeling useless and kind of jealous at how easy making friends was for Max. And Max tells him not to forget that the reason nobody judged him for being a bald and blue kid at 5 years old is because the hero of the city is the cool bald blue guy. There we go. That's my MegaMind sequel idea. Did you like my fan fiction? Did you hate it? Is there a movie you wished had a sequel or remake? Let me know down below, and maybe that idea will end up in a future video. And if you don't like, comment, and subscribe right now, my villain origin story will start here, and it'll be your fault.